Good evening, everybody. Got a twofer going on today because I got a lot of mo. As Clubber Lang said in Rocky 3 when he was giving Rocky the beat down. I got a lot of mo. No, I mean, yeah, I'm in one of those moods for sure. I mean, I'm going to try to make this as comical as I can because to me, even though it's supposed to be serious, it is very difficult to take this stuff seriously. It really is. For me, I just have a hard time taking this stuff seriously. So I'm going to be as comical as I can about this. This is going to be a rant for sure. So people don't like rants. They don't want to be entertained. They got better things to do or whatever. Are you not entertained? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe this isn't the video or channel for you or whatever, because I have been holding this in pretty much all day because it's been hot as blazes, but it finally got down to 91. So I think a cold front's coming in. That's a whole lot better than 99. The heat index to I don't know what. So anyway, so I think I got the air conditioning running at 91. It works a little better than at 99. You're like, oh, that's only 8 degrees difference. It's a big difference, trust me. Especially, when it's 91 at 7:22 p.m. Eastern. The sun's finally gone behind the clouds, so it's not as blazing hot as it was. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing out, man. Oh wow, I think I'm calling this. Gonna call this one "What in the world is going on?" Because I'm sorry, like I said, I just can't take this seriously. I wish I could, but I don't know. The way I see it is if people want to be taken seriously, then you have to act professional. Dare I say presidential, vice presidential, okay? Like a professional, like someone that wants to be taken seriously, like someone that has a command presence, like in the military, you got your boots polished, your uniform's creased, your ribbons are on the right side, your name tag's on the right side, you got a fresh haircut. If you want to be taken seriously and be a professional, instead of having people look at you like a clown or a joke, then you got to look the part, man. And you got to act the part. You got to sound the part. And I'm sorry, these guys are the three stooges, Trump, Hegseth, and Rubio, the three stooges. But before I get into that, I think the reason I feel the way I do about this is because a lot of it has to do with the way I was raised, how I was raised, a military family and whatever. It was ingrained in me from the time I was like 5 years old till I left home at 18, and then I joined the military myself. And so, there's a time for joking and having, a good time and laughing, then there's a time to be serious and a time for everything, like it says in Ecclesiastes, But professionalism and taking, I don't want to use the word pride, but for lack of a better term, taking pride in yourself, pride in your demeanor, pride in how you look, especially, you wear a uniform, you're representing, a unit, your country, I don't think it's too much to ask, to expect someone to be presidential, vice presidential, senatorial, congressional, whatever, that's in a leadership position. I just don't think that's too much to ask. So maybe I'm too old school about this. Maybe I just need to let my hair down about everything and everything's a joke and none of it matters. And I don't know, but for me, it's difficult. Maybe it's because, I'm about to turn 55, Father willing, at the end of July, I jokingly refer to it as my Sammy Hagar birthday, I can't drive 55, but anyway, some people will get the reference. But in seriousness, though, it's also 5-5, which is 5 is the number of grace, so it's like a double grace birthday. So, you look at it like that too, which is nice, of course. But I just have a hard time. These guys, like I said, to me, they're the Three Stooges, okay? It's almost like you could make a Three Stooges episode out of this, you know? The Three Stooges go to war, you know, except it's probably more appropriate to say the Three Stooges declare war. And if people don't know what I'm talking about, you got to check out, I shared it to the post a few times, actually, a few different ones, and a lot of people made videos about it earlier today and so forth. You got to look at the NATO summit conference, whatever, press meeting with the Three Stooges here. I mean, it is unbelievably embarrassing. So it's like the Three Stooges go to war, or the Three Stooges declare war, then they get offended. And why do they get offended? They get offended because people actually want evidence. They actually want to know that what the Stooges say is true. It's like, how dare you question the Stooges? How dare you question these men? It's like, well, why not? They've been caught in lies. They've lie. And not only that, unbelievably unprofessional and incredibly stupid, you know, lest we forget the whole signal chat fiasco. No operational security whatsoever. I'm not going to forget it. Okay, I don't know how many other people are going to talk about it, care about it, or what. I won't forget it because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the lowest E1 understands operational security more than our SecDef does, okay, and respects it more. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that any military member that committed such an act, a stupid, ridiculous act in that way, and got involved in that, would be toast, man. Career over. That would be it. And these clowns on the signal chat, and it didn't just happen once. I mean, it was at least twice, maybe even more than that. So, but these clowns, you know, on the signal chat, right? I mean, they're talking at like, hey, yeah, you know, like they're a bunch of college kids gonna have a kegger for the weekend, you know, and they're planning, you know, what's going on at their keg, you know, for their keg party. It's just ridiculous. I can't take any of it seriously. I wish I could. It's very difficult for me because I want to take it seriously. Lives are literally at stake here, unless we have a wag the dog scenario going on. And I'm not so sure anymore, because some of the videos that I was able to listen to and the things that are being presented, or people are actually questioning, did any of this happen? Was it all staged? I mean, did it happen at all? Because you can't ask legitimate questions without being called a scum, you know, network, a scumbag network, fake news, this and that. And it's just like, people just want to know the truth. Is it too much to ask to get the truth of anything? They just want to know the truth. But no, we can't get the truth on anything anymore because people just aren't honest. They're not going to tell us. So we're supposed to take their word for it that it was obliterated. Everything's obliterated, you know? I mean, no more. They've been set back to the Stone Age kind of thing, you know? And it's like, I'm not so sure. And if there's any truth to it being staged, you have to check out Daniel Davis / Deep Dive YouTube channel on that. Very compelling, very interesting. And I was just like, well, if you're familiar with Wag the Dog, you know, movie from like the late 90s, Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro, Woody Harrelson, Kirsten Dunst, I can't remember who else. But anyway, the whole premise of that is the White House Chief of Staff, played by De Niro, hires a Hollywood producer, played by Dustin Hoffman, you know, to create a movie to take away from a White House scandal. And in creating the movie, they actually start a war. They create a war scenario that isn't real. So it's like, it's all green screen. But the catch is the producer can never say anything, you know, because it's a national security deal. You know, he has to keep his mouth shut. You know, he can't say anything about it. So the world is convinced that we're at war when we're really not at war. Now, I wouldn't go quite that far, but I do believe certain things may be staged or exaggerated, let's just put it that way, to where maybe it wasn't obliteration. And it's very interesting. I can't remember who mentioned this. I want to say it was Franchot Pearson. I'm not exactly sure. But what just happened, with the whole bombing of, the nuclear facilities and whatnot, that was basically the plot of Top Gun Maverick, except it was at a different location. If my memory serves, I think it was in the Baltic somewhere, because I think that was in the winter time. So, I mean, but it was the same plot. It was the same storyline. You had to be so precise, and the bunker buster bombs had to hit exactly, and they had to go so deep, and they had to obliterate everything, and they had to take it all out. It was basically, the plot of Top Gun Maverick that came out a couple years ago, a few summers back. I don't know how many, 3, 4, something like that. So I'm thinking to myself, wow, maybe there is something to this being staged to a certain extent, or at least exaggerated for how badly, the damage was, because that's what's being reported. It's like badly damaged, but not obliterated. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. But it's like, how can you take any of it seriously, because all people do is lie? And that really doesn't offend me that they lie to me. I expect them to lie to me. None of them are saved. They're going to lie. None of them, know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. I thought Marco Rubio did. He really disappoints me. And maybe he does. I don't know. I mean, I have heard him make a profession of faith in the past, kind of thing. But if so, man, he really fell off the horse. Let's just put it that way. He really disappoints me, because I thought Marco was better than this. Actually, I think back when I thought it mattered, when I lived in Florida, I think I actually voted for him once for senator. I think I did. Because I like the guy. We're around the same age. I think we are the same age, but he really disappoints me. But, whatever. It's irrelevant. So, like I said, I expect them to lie to us. I mean, it doesn't hurt my feelings that I'm being lied to. I mean, I expect that. But could you at least be professional about it? Do you really have to drop F-bombs and, I understand you do it behind closed doors, chewing out your staff and everything else, not condoning it, not saying it's right, of course, but I understand it. It's the way guys talk, locker room talk kind of thing. I'm not saying it's right by any means, but that's a private thing behind closed doors with your, with your group, with your cabinet or whatever, But you say it, in front of everybody where kids could hear it, anybody could hear it. Nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares. There's no professionalism. Nothing is presidential anymore. Nothing matters. And then, Vance, flipping the bird, and it's just like, really, dude? What are you, a teenager? What are you, middle school? I mean, it's unbelievable. So how can you take any of the stooges serious? Like I said, the 3 stooges declare war, and then they get offended because people ask them about the effectiveness, the so-called effectiveness of their bunker busting bombs. That's almost a tongue twister. And I'm thinking to myself, what a clown show. What an absolute circus. I mean, how do you take any of this seriously? I mean, and we've got lives at stake here. I mean, we're going to expect our young people, our young men and women, whether, on ship or going to be flown over or whatever the case is, eventually to take this seriously, to take their commander-in-chief seriously. The orders that come down, they're going to be expected to follow those orders. They're going to be expected to do what they're told. They're going to be expected to put their life on the line for this stupidity, for this unprofessional, unpresidential, ridiculousness. Like I said, I don't think it's too much to ask for a little bit of professionalism, for a president to be a little bit presidential. I mean, Clinton was more presidential. Obama was more presidential. And I couldn't stand either one of them. And I served under both of them. But at least they were more presidential in public. At least they didn't drop F-bombs and flip people the bird and then make garbage on the internet. I was like, oh, he didn't actually do it. Well, whatever. It's posted in True Social Media, which is his site that he brags about. Anybody heard the song Bomb Iran, put to the tune of Barbara Ann, the Beach Boys song, Barbara Ann, bomb, 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 Iran. Get it? Barbara, bomb, 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 Iran. sick, twisted, demented. And then supposedly that's done after the ceasefire is declared, right? Which, from what I understand, is still in play, I think. I saw somebody say that it wasn't. I don't know, can't confirm that. Not exactly sure. I guess we'll find out eventually. But I think it's still in play. I think it's still enacted. But it's just like, and then people are literally, even a minister of God, and I'm not going to mention names. I'm really not, because unless people attack me or my family or friends or whatever, I'm not going to mention names, okay? Because I don't want to give any credence to their channel, their platform, their so-called ministry or anything like that. Lord forbid they get any more likes, views, or shares with already the, I don't know, hundreds of thousands or thousands of subscribers they already have, and who knows how many donations and this and that. I don't want to give them any credence, okay? But these so-called MAGA preachers, ministers of God or whatever, are saying, we need, oh yeah, he needs the Nobel Peace Prize. For what? That reminds me when didn't Obama get it, I think, after he bombed Syria or something? They gave him the Nobel Peace Prize, if memory serves. It was a long time ago. But maybe I'm mistaken on that, but I know he's nominated for it. I don't know if he actually got it. Pretty sure he did. And they're talking about a Nobel Peace Prize? For what? Oh, well, he's brokering peace. Really? So basically, let me see if I get this right. You bomb a country, okay, and you make a stupid song about bombing the country. They finally agree to a ceasefire, and that's when the stupid song comes out, I think, kind of around the same time frame. And then people want to give him the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, I know we live in the Matrix, in the Twilight Zone, an upside-down world, bizarro world or whatever, but that is just crazy stupid. I mean, that's insanity. That is absolute insanity. How do you justify that? This is, I just, and who cares? I mean, who cares about the Peace Prize? Who cares about the medal? Who cares about this? Who cares about that? Okay? It's just the point that people are so clueless, so stupid, so dumb, have such a lack of discernment and wisdom that MAGA preachers, supposedly people that get behind the pulpit, you know, on a Sunday or whatever, or have their ministries and make their videos or, you know, whatever else, are promoting this garbage. I literally heard one of these fool MAGA preachers say, yes, he needs to have the Nobel Peace Prize. He has been sent to us by God, and this is he's our last chance at not peace, but last chance for America to turn back to Jesus. I'm like, we're screwed. Okay, if that's the last chance, then we're done. The Titanic has sunk. Okay, it's over. Thank you for playing. Good night, you know, Gracie, whatever anybody want to say. To the moon, Alice. I mean, we're done. If this is the last chance, right? Which I think we're done anyway. When I said yesterday, you know, in my post, you know, Big Daddy might have to turn the car around, I knew it was too late to turn the car around. I was just joking. I was just having fun. And then, isn't it interesting though that I had no idea that NATO stooge or whatever actually called Trump Daddy? I was just having fun. That's just the way I saw this thing. I saw it like, yeah, it's like Dad driving the kids in the car to go to Disneyland or whatever, you know, and the hoodlums are acting up in the back seat, and he's threatening to turn the car around, which I don't know of any dad ever in history that's ever turned the car around, okay? Maybe it's happened, but I'm just not aware of it, you know, because Dad wants to get there probably more than anybody else does, you know, or just about the same amount, you know. And I was like, this is what it reminds me of. This is how childish and immature it is. So yeah, I called him like Big Daddy. Then my friend John sent me, I had no idea there was a wrestler named Big Daddy. I just thought that was hilarious, you know. So I posted the pic that he sent me, you know, because you got to make fun of this stuff because it's a joke. It is an absolute joke. So it's how I keep my sanity, is by laughing at these clowns. You know, they're a joke. I mean, it's just, how do you take it seriously? But you have to, because they're about to put our young men and women in harm's way, if they haven't already. And who knows how many other innocent, you know, children, young men and women, whether they're Americans or not, in harm's way. because nobody seems to be thinking about the collateral damage or cares about the collateral damage. Nobody cares about that. Nobody's talking about that. I mean, a few people are, but it's just like, so it's serious, but we've got stooges in charge. We've got the Keystone Cops in charge. So what do you do with that? There's nothing you can do except pray for the military members that are about to, unfortunately, be put in a situation they probably can't get out of. People say, oh no, you're going too far, it's not going to happen. Oh, well, we'll see, okay? We'll see how long the ceasefire lasts. We'll see how long, we'll see what happens over July 4th weekend, if anything at all. But there's a lot of, I don't want to say evidence, but let's just say there's a lot of speculation and, going all the way back to the drills that they ran back in April 2024 for the thing that could be happening over July 4th weekend, which could cost people their lives, which could, be a domino effect to where it gets worse and worse and worse to where we're dealing with some serious siege type stuff, V for Vendetta type stuff, Dark Knight Rises type stuff. I mean, pick your movie or whatever, I don't know what to tell you. The stuff that they've shown us and told us about and warned us about through movies and television shows for 30, 40, whatever years, I don't know. But I believe the possibility exists. And it's a short time away before that could happen. Matter of fact, I was told, warned, whatever, that watch the 25th and 26th, which I was like, okay, yeah, I get that stuff a lot. Other people do too. And this person isn't what I would consider a date setter, so I pay attention to it. Man, nothing majorly significant that I'm aware of happened today, except for a ton of breaking news. I mean, did you hear about the protests at the Capitol? Because people don't want the big, beautiful bill passed. I know it's a terrible impression, but all you gotta do is be loud, boisterous, obnoxious, and there you go. I want my big, beautiful bill passed by July 4th. What a petulant child. What a spoiled bunch of petulant children. And it's I want my bill passed for the big, beautiful baby boy. I mean, it's ridiculous. And so people are protesting. They're going to the Capitol and they're saying, I'm concerned about my Medicare. I'm concerned about, what's going to happen. You fools haven't even read it. They admitted they haven't read it. Some of them anyway. And said, that sounds familiar. We have to pass the bill so we can read it. Or whatever that stupidity was. You remember that garbage? Man, the Who got it right. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Won't get fooled again. Want to bet? Everybody's being fooled again. And this is the thing too, okay? All of these MAGA preachers, MAGA people, whatever else, their little tin God can never do any wrong. Anybody that ever says anything has TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, I call it TDS, Trump delusional syndrome, because you got to be delusional to believe anything that this guy or his cabinet says. I mean, you got to be delusional at this point, okay? For a while, I could kind of understand it, maybe, but now you just got to be delusional, living on another planet. Your brain, you don't have one, or if you do, you never use it. I mean, because it's like, how do you justify this craziness, this insanity? You've got to be delusional. But, and here's the thing, this just blows my mind. One of the wisest people, in my personal opinion, one of the wisest people with the most discernment, that has been right a lot about a lot of different things, and tries to treat people decently with respect, is professional with the exception of, his colorful metaphors, and so forth, but incredibly funny, and also, takes it seriously, but also not too seriously, that I really enjoy listening to, who I actually introduced myself to on his channel yesterday. I rarely do that, but he had me rolling, so I just said, you know what, I'm gonna leave a couple comments here. And that's Nate from Canadian Prepper. And that guy claims to be an agnostic. But he's got more wisdom and discernment, in my opinion, okay, and knows more what he's talking about than most of these MAGA preachers, MAGA people that claim to have all this discernment and wisdom, and they listen to the Holy Spirit and they hear from God, and that's how they know that Trump is God's man, and he's been put in office for this particular time to bring America back and make us great again, blah, 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 blah. Same old garbage we've heard for the last 8+ years, okay? Doesn't change. Rhetoric never changes. Narrative never changes. Nate knows more, is smarter, and he doesn't have the Holy Spirit. Go figure that. How is that possible? I'll tell you how. Because people are listening to a spirit. It's not the Holy Spirit. They're just listening to a spirit. So that's how they get these dreams, visions, words of knowledge, prophetic this, prophetic that, all relating to their little tin God, and how, he's so awesome and he's so wonderful and he's so great, and you better fall down and you better get in line, step in line, and do what he tells you to do. And I'm just like, wow. And you know what? I don't blame Nate. I really don't blame Nate. And I left him a message. I left him a comment, because he had me rolling, because he said, it goes like, Israel's like, they violated a ceasefire like 900 times. I was just like, but he was serious when he said it. I was like, no way, 900 times? I don't think so. But he sounded really serious when he said it, and just the way that he presented it, I mean, he had me cracking up. And so I left him a comment, I just thought that was really funny. And then I just said, I said, I'm one of those non-self-righteous Christians, that doesn't speak Christianese. I was like, I don't believe I didn't say this, but you're not going to win anybody to Jesus by beating them over the head with the Bible, and tell them they're going to burn in hell, if they don't get saved, You can't act like Mr. T, get saved, fool. You can't do that stuff. I mean, you gotta, I like what A.W. Tozer says, preach the gospel always, and when necessary, use words, okay? I like that, And so I tried to be gentle in that way, because I know when he makes his videos where, from the subscribers or whatever, the people that leave comments, some of them, quite a few of them are actually Christians, telling Nate that he needs to get saved. But it's just like, okay, fair enough. I understand that Nate needs to get saved, okay? Pray for Nate, pray for salvation, pray for his family and whatnot. But he just mocks you because of how it's presented, It's like you're beating the guy over the head with the Bible, and just, I mean, probably not anybody listening to me now, but other people, they're just like, Nate, you need to get saved. Nate, you need to find Jesus. Nate, you need to do it. Nate, you need to do that. And Nate's like, what for? Because you know what he sees? He sees all of these self-righteous Christians, self-righteous believers in Jesus Christ, beating them over the head with the Bible, and they're wrong about everything. Everybody, I mean, whether fair or not, whether true or not, people get lumped in with all the MAGA people. Even the true believers in Jesus Christ get lumped in with the MAGA people and the MAGA preachers and all the rest of these clowns, whether fair or not, like I said, because that's what other people see. So they're like, man, what do I need Jesus for? I'm doing fine without him. I'm cool. I'm okay. My prepping channel's going all right, got a huge subscriber base. People are buying stuff, donation this or buying this, whatever the case may be. But I'm just like, man, Nate would be awesome if he got saved. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what he already knows, and the fact that he already has wisdom and discernment, imagine if he also had the Holy Spirit on top of that. And not just him, there were others out there too. And I'm thinking, man, we look like idiots. We look like clowns ourselves. Because people want to beat people over the head with the Bible. Get saved, fool! It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And no wonder, because their little tin God, a lot of people's little tin God is a bully. Dropping F-bombs, his vice presidential clown, flipping the bird, making songs about the country that you want to bomb, not even thinking about the collateral damage, the children, the innocent women and children there, the fact that many of them are Christians in the area. There's a huge dare I say, revival in the Middle East, if people are paying attention. So a lot of the people there are actually your brothers and sisters, whether people want to recognize it or not. But no, we want to put out stupid songs like Bomb, 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 Iran. Oh, isn't that funny? And then other people who I refuse to listen to, people send me their videos and everything, and I just tell them, you know, it's like, I don't listen to this person anymore. They're a MAGA moron, okay? I don't listen to them anymore, all right? Because they made their choice. All right. Oh yeah, I love Jesus, and I'm, you know, and I listen to the Holy Spirit. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you think stuff like that's funny, and it's not funny. It's not funny for people to get killed and bombed, you know, just because they have a different belief system, religion, you are, a different skin color, or whatever. What about all the innocent men, women, and children everywhere? You know, but let's just bomb everybody. You know, let's just take out everybody, right? And then, you know, the people that, you know, that make these videos, you know, it's just like, I got some advice, and I'm not talking about Weatherman Plus here, okay? But some people figure it out. Just stick to the weather. Just stick to earthquake forecasting, you know, hurricane forecasting or whatever. That's what you're good at. Just stick to the weather. There's another one. Why don't you just stick to planting your garden? Stick to your homestead preparedness. You know, stick to your, I don't know, telling people, you know, how to plant, how to grow, whatever. Why don't you just stick to that, okay? Because your MAGA stuff makes me want to puke. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, you know? But see, this is what we deal with. And see, this is what people like Nate or other people see. And then they're like, what do I need Jesus for? What for? You know, it's just like, I'm doing fine just without him. And it's like, besides that, you people are morons. You guys are freaks. You guys are weird. You guys are strange. You're always trying to beat me over the head with the Bible, telling me I got to get saved all the time. It's like, I don't need this in my life. And I can't say I blame him. So there are ways to get a message across without beating people over the head with the Bible, especially since everybody lumps us in the same category, talking about non-believers, agnostics, atheists, or whatever, and they all think we're Trump worshipers anyway. They all think we're the MAGA people. They all think that we're all the same, even though we're not. And there's no way to convince people differently of that. There really isn't, unless you do it with your actions, with your deeds, and not your words. As I said, use the words when necessary. And I mean, I'm speaking to all of us here. Because this insanity, this chaos, I don't know how anybody could support this. This is war crimes. These are war crimes, okay? I don't know how anybody can support this at all. This is insanity. This is chaos, you know? And the people that keep, you know, saying, oh yeah, you go, man. You go, Trump. You go, Hegseth. You know, I always knew Hegseth was a clown. Like I said, I'm disappointed with Rubio. You know who'd be a great sec def? Jamie Walden. Jamie Walden would be a great Secretary of Defense. Of course, it'd probably be the worst decision he ever made in his life. And I can only imagine the frustration he would have on a daily basis. I mean, it'd be like the movie Office Space, man. Every day is worse than the one before, than the day before, you know? I mean, because I can only imagine, but, I mean, anybody would be better than Hegseth. Are you kidding me? This guy, are you serious? I mean, if you do your research, if you check out the background of these people, you'll know what I'm talking about. I mean, but, so no wonder he stands up there being all defensive, you know, getting offended because, you know, certain news organizations or whatever have questions. That's what you're supposed to do in journalism, I think, is ask questions, you know, and, you know, and say, hey, how do you know? Where is the evidence? You know, why don't you just take our word for it? Why don't you just understand? Oh, and the other thing is the Daniel Davis / Deep Dive channel. Very interesting, because I agree with this, because I know it firsthand. They say that in the B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, it took like 36 hours to get there and back, right? Okay. That's a long time. And that's what we say, hey, 36 hours for these pilots, and people don't appreciate them, and people don't appreciate what they've done, and they're American heroes, and blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. I listened to that and I'm thinking, okay, when I flew from San Diego to Saudi Arabia for Desert Shield and became Desert Storm, it didn't take 36 hours. It took like 24. Yeah, there were time changes and so forth, but basically it was like 24, okay? And that was on a commercial airliner, not a stealth jet. So how did it take 36 hours? Good question, huh? See, check out the Daniel Davis /Deep Dive YouTube channel. I also shared it to the post. And listen to what they have to say. Very interesting. So I can kind of understand why they think some of this might actually be staged. And I don't know if it is or isn't. Or, maybe some of it, not all of it. I have no idea. I mean, the news that came out on all of this today was just overwhelming. It was just insane. So I'm thinking to myself, yeah. And something else that came to me too earlier. I'm about to shut this thing down, but something else that came to me earlier too is my friend Dave T from, I always get him confused, not Ontario, I think Ottawa. A while back, I don't know how long ago, it's been several months back, maybe a year, something like that, I don't know. But he sent me some pictures of the B-2 Spirit before it became more well known, the stealth bombers. And he's like, isn't this the same? This is the same jet that's in the iPad Go 2 video, which I put really no stock in, okay? I know other people, they study that thing backwards and forwards, and they use it to predict all kinds of things that they're never, ever right about. I mean, seriously. I mean, certain people, they predict so many things from that video that they're never, ever right about. I mean, just horrific, horrible things that are supposed to happen every single month, month after month, year after year, that never, ever come to pass. As a matter of fact, it's like 16 things are all supposed to happen, within a matter of a few days or whatever. And they're like 0 and 16. It's just like, man, if you were a football team, you would suck. I mean, who wants to be on an 0 and 16 football team, right? I mean, but they do. They use this video to predict all kinds of things and, and dissect it here and there and do all of this stuff. But I don't put much stock in it, okay? But there is this one particular scene in that video where it shows 3, and I think the video came out in like June of 2012 or something, if memory serves. So this month, back in 2012, where they had a picture, a scene where you have 3 jets that at the time kind of looked like, extraterrestrial spacecrafts or whatever. I mean, because they're really aerodynamic and very sleek looking and very futuristic looking, right? Because I didn't know what they were at the time. I don't think a lot of people did. But they show these things fly by and then bomb a mosque. And I don't know what mosque it is. I don't know if it's in Turkey or wherever else. I don't think it's the Temple Mount. But they bomb a mosque. And at the same time, there's like a boy laying on the ground or whatever. They all have characters, all have names. I don't care. I don't know who they are. But anyway, and then it flashes across his eye. It says, "Markets plunge," And I'm thinking about this, and I'm just like, okay. So basically, we have these B-2 Spirit stealth bombers shown in the iPad Go 2 video that originally came out, I believe, in 2012, June of 2012, where they show this mosque being blown up by the bombers. I said at the time, I didn't know what they were. I don't think a lot of people did. Those are the exact same things that they're showing go flying through the skies now, and supposedly with the bunker bomb busters, buster bombs or whatever, the exact type of aircraft from 2012 shown in the iPad Go 2 video. I was like, whoa. Now that's pretty interesting. So, if there's any truth to that at all, are we going to see a mosque blown to smithereens from these, B-2 Spirit stealth bombers and sometime in the near future? I don't know if there's any truth to it. I just thought it was worth mentioning because he sent that to me a while back, and people don't know who he is. He had a YouTube channel called Take Heed to the Word a while back, and put a lot of things up there about the fiery kickoff event as well as other things. So I don't know. I don't know. All I know is would like to see a little more professionalism, people act a little more presidential. I don't think that's too much to ask. Maybe a lot of people listening to me are older than I am, around my same age. Is it too much to ask for people to be professional, for people to act presidential? I mean, as big of a scumbag Clinton and Obama were or whatever, they were more presidential, at least in public. I mean, behind closed doors, in private, obviously not, okay? But at least in public, they were more presidential. I mean, I got to give them credit for at least being presidential in public, at least playing the part, acting the role. But I got to remember, this guy's an actor, WWE Hall of Famer, cameos in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Home Alone 2, Celebrity Apprentice for years. Got to keep remembering, this dude's an actor. He's an actor. He's playing his role. He's playing his part, just like the rest of them. They're all playing their role. I guess so. It's not far-fetched to say the Three Stooges declare war, then get offended, and the rest of them are the Keystone Cops. It's not far off the mark, stumbling and bumbling all over each other. Because, I mean, they sound like idiots, they act like idiots, and we're supposed to take all of this seriously. And unfortunately, we have to a certain extent, because lives are at stake, souls are at stake. But at the same time, it's just like, man, we live in a bizarre world. I mean, every day seems like an episode of the X-Files now. That's why I posted that earlier, The truth is out there, but people get killed for it. They'll shut you down. They'll censor you. Ask Call for an Uprising, or what is it? Sheeple is as Sheeple does, this new channel. The guy's been shut down like 90 times or something. His words, not mine. I mean, it's just like, they will shut you down. They shut me down. They shut other people down. They will shut you down. Eventually they will just get rid of you altogether. Bye-bye channel, bye-bye whatever, and then, like I said, in that X-Files episode, they killed the dude that outlived his usefulness, They take poor Mulder and, do horrible things to him. Scully's caught in the middle, and, she's like, oh, what do I do, kind of thing, Dude just got shot and killed right in front of me, and I got to take care of Mulder here, and now they're shutting down the X-Files, and it's just like, yeah, they will shut you down. You speak enough truth, you tell people the truth, you put yourself out there, you come real close, they'll shut you down. They will make sure your channel no longer exists. They will make sure that you do not have a voice, because they don't want us to have a voice. They want us to fall in line. They want us to just do what you're told. Got to do what they told you, like Rage Against the Machine saying, do what they told you. Just do what they told you. Just shut up and do what you're told. Don't think. Don't have a brain. Don't do anything. A lot of people, they have a brain, but they never use it. It's like they might as well be, Rocky Balboa or an MMA fighter or something, because those brain cells, they do not regenerate. That's why I stay away from people that talk so much nonsense. I was like, man, I'm going to lose brain cells listening to you because you have no idea what you're talking about. They do not regenerate. Other cells do, but your brain cells don't. Ask any boxer or MMA fighter, That's why they all sound like Rocky Balboa from Rocky 5, They barely put a sentence together. So, anyway. That's enough. Just, I don't know what to say, man. Just pay attention to the world, what's going on. Get close to Jesus. Stay close to Jesus. When the time comes for all of this. Who knows when? Maybe it's going to be 4th of July weekend. Maybe it won't be. I don't know. But in the meanwhile, we just got to keep putting up with this stuff and dealing with it for as long as we can. And be blessed. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Take care of your families. And, be as prepared as you can be. And I guess we'll just see where it all heads from here. But I'm done. I'm worn out. I got nothing more to say. And like I said, it was going to be a rant. Thank you for everybody that stuck with it. Maybe you got something out of it. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. But yeah, one last thing. Commodus from Gladiator. I love this scene. And I think it might be very appropriate, and it might even come to pass very soon, where Maximus says to Commodus, the time of honoring yourself will soon be at an end, Highness. I wonder if that time is coming, because a lot of people are talking about it. There's a lot of people putting that out there. And who knows? Lord's will be done. His time. We'll see what happens. All right. Y'all have a good night. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.